you've ever wondered if a small garden could actually reduce your reliance on the grocery store and provide enough produce for you to actually make meals with, the answer is yes. I'm here to show you 6 reliable, unfussy, easy to grow crops that anyone, but especially beginner gardeners, can grow. So over the next few minutes, you and I are gonna visit my kitchen garden, harvest fresh produce, and bring it back to the kitchen where I'll show you 7 amazingly quick, simple, and delicious ways to enjoy your spring garden. Even better, all of these vegetables can go from seed to harvest in 40 days or less. And some of them will give you 2 or more harvests before the spring season's over. So even if you're still just thinking about if you even want to garden this season, it's not too late to get your spring garden going. In fact, planting later in the season gives you the benefit of warmer soil temperatures, which leads to shorter germination times and rapid growth. First up are cranberry lettuce wraps, which are always a complete hit and one of my go-to spring appetizers for entertaining. Whenever I see my husband walking with a bag of cheese and craisins out to the garden, I chuckle to myself because I know what he's about to make.
I live in a townhome and exclusively garden in 4 vertical planters that allow me to grow over 120 plants right on my deck. Nearly all leaf lettuces mature in 40 days, and I've got tons ready to enjoy. Cut the outer leaves about 1 inch above the crown so that the lettuce can continue growing, and wait until they reach a length between 3 to 6 inches to harvest again. Now y'all, doesn't this look better than store-bought? For this recipe, you'll just need crumbled feta cheese, glazed walnuts or pecans, and dried craisins. Then just scoop and sprinkle your toppings onto the lettuce. Y'all, combining all these flavors and textures is brilliant. You've got the soft, savory feta, the sweet, crunchy nuts that pair nicely with the chewy, tart craisins, and hydrating fresh lettuce. So good. After that, you roll and tuck everything together, and you'll love having this fast, healthy snacking option on hand. I also love the way this recipe plates. The presentation is bright and inviting. It's an appetizer that company will love and comes together in a cinch.
The satisfaction of making a homemade pizza where both the sauce and the toppings came 100% from your garden is a feeling that can't be beat and a flavor that cannot be bought. Take a look at how easy it is to make pizza pesto, topped with roasted tomatoes and sprinkled with arugula microgreens.
Before I head out to the garden, I'm going to make a crispy crust pan pizza dough that I dare say is better than takeout. This dough comes out slightly thick, crispy, and chewy. Now, what you'll love about making pizza at home is that you can create sauces and toppings chain pizza stores just don't offer, like cream cheese, basil pesto, and garden varieties only you're growing. I'm splitting the dough slightly uneven to make a large for my husband and a small for me. Since this is a pan-style pizza, you'll need a heavy metal pan like a cast iron pan that has high sides. While the dough rises for about 40 minutes, let's head to the garden. I'm going to harvest some arugula blend microgreens, which have a nutty, peppery taste that'll complement the basil pesto nicely. And I'm also going to grab some cherry tomatoes from this compact variety that I'm growing, and I love it because it continuously fruits from spring until mid-fall. Now, I like to interplant 2 or more plants per pocket, so I'm poking around to find some basil, which is tucked in between some celery stalks and collards. I've got a handful of basil pesto recipes I use depending on the ingredients that I already have on hand. I'm using peanuts instead of pine nuts, grated Parmesan, and olive oil to make my base, and then I'll transfer things to the stove and add some cream and butter. All right, the dough is ready, and here's the fun part. The dough has risen in a heavily greased pan, so we'll add our homemade pesto and mozzarella cheese. Next, I'll slice a few of my tomatoes, and I'm going to place the pan over medium-high heat to fry it on the bottom so that the dough gets crispy before transferring it to the oven to bake. Right after it comes out of the oven, add your microgreens. Do y'all see how easily this pizza lifts from the pan? And goodness, do you see this golden brown crust? The crust is crunchy, chewy, uses a few simple ingredients I always have on hand, and sources fresh herbs and greens from my spring garden.
If you've ever noticed the cost of microgreens, which are typically sold at health food stores, you know how darn expensive they are. Honey, those little things sell for more than full-size vegetables. Yeah, so the way you gotta think about it is that they offer more nutritional density in a smaller, more flavorful package. I love growing microgreens because all you have to do is just drop a few in the soil and then lightly cover them. In 2 to 5 days, you'll see sprouts, and in 10 days, they're ready to harvest. Here's one of my go-to morning juices that doesn't require a juicer or an expensive price tag.
I harvested some stevia, an all-natural sweetener, more microgreens, and a bit of mint. I used the leaves and stems because it all contains flavor and nutrients. And to my blender, I'll just drop in a few pieces of freshly sliced ginger and squeeze in some fresh lemon juice. Toss in a few ice cubes, and you can use frozen mango chunks, but I'm limited on freezer space, so I grabbed a jar of home-canned mango sauce that still provides that explosion of naturally sweet tropical flavor. I use this in other dishes like sauces for grilled meats, and between greens in the garden and home-canned sauces like this on my shelf, I can enjoy homemade smoothies without shopping for grocery store ingredients every week. Learning to can is a skill that pairs perfectly with gardening, and I have lots of canning videos on the channel if you're interested. The finished product is a cool and refreshing green smoothie that is the perfect way to start your day. Now this is how I do healthy on a budget. And oh, I sprinkle microgreens onto everything. Just the other day, I roasted my last butternut squash, added leftover quinoa, and tossed peppery microgreens on top for a healthy, low-fuss dinner.
Spinach is a garden favorite because homegrown spinach actually has flavor that when you buy the store stuff, you're like, ugh, this falls flat. Plus, I can't tell you how much peace of mind I have knowing that I don't have to worry about the inevitable recalls that happen every year for listeria or some other contamination. And I don't have to worry about fresh spinach spoiling on me in the fridge over the course of a week because I just now keep them outside and enjoy outdoor refrigeration. Oh, I love it. Nothing gets better than harvesting the exact quantity that you want when you want it. The rest stays fresh for weeks at a time until I need it.
Here's a classic chicken dinner that uses chicken thighs seasoned with a bit of seasoned salt and pepper. Even more flavor comes from using reserved bacon grease, which is great for roasting and baking to liven up savory dishes and adds a healthy fat. Look at this pretty puffy homegrown spinach, y'all. Take it, ball it up, and give it a rough chop. Add feta cheese and roast a half cup of pine nuts over low heat for several minutes. I want to amp up the flavor by adding some fresh parsley and spring onions, so I headed back out to my garden. Next, I'm going to toss in some garlic, the roasted pine nuts, and drizzle with olive oil. Give things a good mix to combine, then add your beautiful filling to the chicken thighs. Secure them with cooking skewers and place in a 400-degree oven and bake until done. What comes out is a fancy-looking weeknight or weekend meal that makes you look like you're more than a home chef. The naturally moist cut of chicken thighs paired with crunchy pine nuts, savory cheeses, and flavored spinach is an all-in-one dinner I can plop on a plate and know that it's filling and satisfying.
I am a garlic and onion heavy cook, so I especially enjoy my spring onions. So if you haven't planted them yet, do me this one favor. Just grab a pack or two at the grocery store the next time you go. They're cheap and come with their roots attached, so all you have to do is plop them in the soil and they'll keep coming back for you all spring, summer, and fall long. If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog becomingafarmgirl.com. I'm here to help you start learning homesteading skills like canning and gardening in a small space and in your spare time. I'm what you call a homestead dreamer. While I would love to have a few acres, that's not going to be my reality for a while.
With the GreenStalk vertical planter, you can plant over 30 small and large vegetables, flowers, or root crops in under 2 square feet, and easily roll or rotate your garden to access all of your plants. This Tennessee-based family-owned business carefully packages everything you need to set up your vertical garden that doesn't require tools or much time and can be assembled in just 3 simple steps. Let's start with the wheel base, which also contains your drainage hole. Just pop the wheels into the base, add the drainage tube, and that's it. Let's move to the planter. First, fill each planter base to the top with a high-quality potting mix, and then plant each pocket with the starter plant or seeds. Second, place a gray disc on top of each tier. Fill and stack each tier, making sure that the planter's feet interlock with the planter below. You'll hear it click. Assembly is finished, my friend. Wheel your planter to where you want it. Lastly, fill the top water reservoir until water comes out of the drain tube. The built-in drip irrigation system evenly distributes water to all of your plants. I fertilize with homemade remedies, and that's it. I grow leaf lettuces the size of my hand, tasty kale, a combination of microgreens, flavorful spinach, celery, herbs, y'all, practically anything an in-ground garden has. I do too. I'd never be able to scale growing this much if I didn't take advantage of vertical gardening. It's the most practical way to garden in a small space. If a GreenStalk seems like the ideal growing solution for you, you can use my code BAFarmGirl to take $10 off your order. It's my 5th year growing in GreenStalks, and friend, I'll be right alongside you.
I am a huge Swiss chard fan. I love the color, the texture, the taste, how easy it is to grow. But did you know it makes a delicious herb jam? Yes, I'm talking about spreading it over pita bread with the warning, highly addictive. Here's how easy this unexpected savory jam accented with smoky spices and lemon comes together.
Start by sauteing garlic in a pan. Harvest your kale by removing the stems and ends. Set those aside. Roughly chop your chard, then add it to the pan to tenderize, about 20 minutes. I went back out to the garden to harvest more seasonings, marjoram, parsley, and mint. This is a Moroccan-inspired dish, so we'll add cumin and fresh jalapeno. Cook until the moisture evaporates and then transfer it to a blender. Take toasted naan bread, spread it with soft ricotta cheese, and heap your aromatic chard jam on top. You've got to smell this to believe how good this pairing tastes. You won't believe that you're eating chard.
Now, don't you dare throw away those ends. You know that in this house, we cook with every part. Now, if you haven't had pickled chard stems, you'll see why I insist that those colorful ends need to be headed to your tummy, not the compost.
Just like any refrigerator pickle, you'll make a quick brine to pour over the top of the Swiss chard ends, then refrigerate. The pickled stems get a kick from the mustard seeds and sweet rice vinegar, but feel free to get creative. One thing I'm constantly striving to incorporate into my kitchen is less waste and more use of all parts of vegetables. Chard ends add a sweet, tangy, crunchy bite to any dish when used as a salad topping, sprinkled on top of a rice bowl, or stuffed into a pita or taco shell. Try it.
If you want to see more ways that you can maximize meals and garden in a small space with a GreenStalk, click on the video on your screen. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.